In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station, WLMR DB Radio.
Thank you all, each and every week for staying tuned in with Speak Out Your Issues with Miss Shelly Wright Nadine
and Sabrina.
And of course, like usual, we bring you topics that are relevant to your life, possibly. I'm not saying it will be because this is Speak Out Your Issues show, and we just dive in of what's going on, at whatever time it is, whether it's today, yesterday, or tomorrow. Just keeping our community informed, keeping our listeners informed. Again, you on Speak Out Your Issues with Miss Shelly Wright, Nadine, and Sabrina. And our topic tonight is stress. Plain old simple stress, not any other words with it. And I hear you, Miss Sabrina, saying, "Ooh, what's going on over there?" Stress.
The word itself is stressful, okay?
Oh, yes.
And Miss Nadine, I was thinking about, I was reading this article. I think it was on, I think it was on Instagram. I was reading where this lady was talking about, she's a mother, and she was just talking about how stressed out she is, right? She's talked about how she was in the bathroom taking a shower, and her baby kept banging on the door. And she said the baby was, she said he said, "Mommy," she counted it like 57 times. And she said she just stood, under the shower and just let the water run, and just hearing, she didn't even have enough strength, or, she just needed that break.
Right.
From her child. And she says, I counted, I think he said, "Mommy," like 57 times. The baby was okay. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 maybe. And
yes.
Okay. He was clean and everything. She said, "Well, I just needed that, that moment of to just de-stress."
Right.
And so, we don't think about, especially now with on top of everything else that we're going through, when you have a little one that is demanding all of your attention, on top of whatever life issues that are demanding your attention, and a spouse or a significant other that is demanding your attention, your job that's demanding your attention, family members that's demanding your attention, house issues that's demanding your attention, whether that's plumbing, or the vacuum cleaner may malfunction, and these are all things that just add on to the stress.
Right.
So, and when you were saying, that's why when you said stress, I was like, wow, because I was just reading that article about that. So, my question is for our listeners, that's something to think about. If you have a child and your child is okay, how can you take yourself away before you snap? Because we're seeing so many articles and so many reports that are coming in of child abuse, and people are snapping on their children because of stress.
Right.
So my question is, what do you do when you get, how can you de-escalate your stress level before it gets to that point that you snap? Those are some of the things that I think about, as you were talking about that.
Right.
Man, what a very apropos topic tonight, because we're all dealing with it on some level or another. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, we're dealing with stress.
True. That is so true. And the thing you just mentioned is, whether we like it or not, a lot of times you don't even know you're under stress because you've been living under stress for so long. It's a way of life. And this is the time, perfect time, since last year, things changed and stuff. It's the time to, like they say, sit back, like I say, sit back and relax as much as possible and pay attention to self so you kind of know where you are. And sometimes you just can't help it. Hey, you just have to relieve, whatever is going on with you. You can't take those steps. So, we decided to break in on stress. What is stress? And of course, it's based on Google saying stress is a feeling of being overwhelmed or unable to cope with mental or emotional pressure. Again, stress is the feeling of being overwhelmed or unable to cope with mental or emotional pressure. And that's just one definition. That's stated. And another one is, what is the best definition of stress? This is another definition. Stress in medicine, the body's response to physical, mental, or emotional pressure. Again, in medicine, it is the body's response to physical, mental, or emotional pressure. And of course, it goes on to state that stress causes chemical changes in the body that can raise blood pressure, heart rate, and blood sugar levels. Again, blood pressure, heart rate, and blood level sugars. I never thought about stress, and I guess it gets everything out of whack. And it says it may also lead to feelings of frustration, anxiety, anger, or depression. Again, it may also lead to feelings of frustration, anxiety, anger, or depression. That is the answer to our first question, what is stress? And of course, there's probably other definitions, but I think those are kind of two definitions that we can associate with, with everyday life. Again, you're on Speak Out Your Issues with Show You Right, Nadine and Sabrina. We're just bringing information and speaking out issues. And I know the title of our show is Speaking Out Issues. Sometimes it can be issues that, hey, it's controversial. But all of these things that we talk about are issues because these things we can do better about, Based on that definition, you have any thoughts, Miss Sabrina?
Yeah, I probably have a couple of them. I'm reading. My sleeping pattern is all jacked up. I go to sleep. If I go to sleep early, after 6 hours, it's like my body is up, and it's like, come on, let's do this, get up. And I'm like, wait, I've only slept for 6 hours, and let me lay in the bed, all right? If I try and just lay there past the 6-hour sleep period that my body has had, I start feeling stressed. My body starts to ache, and this feeling of I'm not being productive starts, I start feeling that I'm not being productive. So get up. And when you were reading, I was like, that is stress. So even if it's not stress of everyday life, it's the stress that we put on ourselves as well.
Right.
And when you were saying that, I was like, that's what I've been feeling, because I don't care if I get 6 hours from me is a full rest. And I am up and I am ready to go. And you know, some people can lay in the bed. My body started hurting, my head started hurting, and then I'm like, I could be doing this, I'm losing hours, I could be, you know, this, I'm not being productive. And before long, my heart rate starts, you know, beating fast, and I jump up out the bed. I'm out the bed, I make up the bed, and I'm going, I'm doing, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, that's stress. Stress that I'm putting on myself, you know, not because of something that has to be done. It's just me overthinking or, you know, processing stuff all through the day and even at night. And so I'm not giving my brain a chance to shut down and reboot.
Right. Okay, that's a good way of saying it, shut down and reboot. You know,
yeah, I like that. I realize that, you know, you don't, you know, after you get up and you're constantly going. And I just want to say, if you are that person that, and I had to learn this. I had to make a separate office in my home. If you are a person that is using your bedroom, the place of rest, to work, you are doing yourself a great disservice, and you're literally not allowing your body a chance to rest, because your mind knows that your room is your office. It's, you know, not a place of rest. So you're not going to get the proper rest. And I was doing that. I used to work in my bed, or at my, you know, put my laptop in my bed. And before you know it, you know, I'm going to be transparent. If I was working on something, I would turn over, and if a thought hit me or whatever, I'd open my laptop, and before you know it, I'm shooting out emails, I'm writing something, you know, stuff that I had, you know, wanted to do, and before you know it, it's dawn, right?
Right.
And here it is, I may have only gotten maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep, but I thought it was convenient.
Right.
And then I started developing all these other health habits because I didn't know how to turn it off. Now, you got some people that when it's time to sleep, I don't care what time, they're going to sleep.
Hey, they can lay down and rest, right? They can lay down and rest.
What?
And that's a art of, because all our minds constantly go, right? But being conscious about, okay, hey, great idea after great idea after great idea comes to all of us all the time. And like with yourself, Sabrina, you excellent about writing it down. And that way you can come back to it, what we usually would call a parking lot. You know, put it in a parking lot where you can come back to it, or just writing them down so you won't get them. But, you know, at a point, you try and have a time of relaxation. And I know, not you per se, I'm just saying me, anybody, have that relaxation time and say, you know what, it just can't go round and round 285 and nonstop. You have to say, okay, consciously give yourself that, let me just take deep breaths in and blow them out through the mouth. Take deep breaths in and blow them out through your mouth. And you do that by 10 times. And I've done that before, and it really makes a difference. I've even felt how my body had calmed down. So, and a lot of times, because of course, you know, we both have taken mental health sessions, 101 through several, you know, organizations, the mental health awareness, the mental health, America, Georgia. We've taken that 101, and, you know, just talking about some of the things that they had mentioned, and always looking at any kind of mental health information to find, because it in turn, you know, help yourself. So, and plus with our organizations. Mine's the health and wellness. Yours is definitely child safety, that drills down with the different areas of safety, period. And that embarks on having to have like you say, always healthy mind, body, and soul. So we just wanted to just kind of dive in this evening and do a checkup, your own health and wellness, mental health, emotional health checkup in reference to within yourself. A lot of people don't like to go to the doctors because you already have the answers within you. But, of course, when you cannot consciously think of things to do, that's when you can have to possibly go to someone. And, or if you see yourself not, say, being as active or whatever, or you just can't get yourself going. What I mean by going, the regular activities that you usually do, these are some of the things that we've learned through some of those classes. Always seek that self-help from within self. And that's, in other words, paying attention to the changes that's going on within yourself. So you would know, and then you would have conscience, effort about if you want to talk to your doctor and saying like something going on. And, that kind of made me think, Miss Sabrina, of course, with females, go through the hormonal changes and stuff. So sometimes you go to that one side and don't get back in balance. Just pointing out a lot of things in reference to stress. Before we move on, I just wanted to kind of mention on the National Institute of Mental Health, it says stress is how the brain and body respond to any demand, any type of challenge, such as performance at work or school, a significant life change, or a traumatic change. So it's, different, meanings of stress, the definitions of stress, that's out there that we can all associate with in reference to, hey, just living everyday life, like it's saying working, the stress on your job, and keeping up, stress. Look, I just thought, Miss Sabrina, stress when we had to come home dealing with traffic, and anytime you're going out these days, the stress of dealing with the traffic and the ones that weaving in and weaving out, almost touching your car. It looked like it anyway, but it's all those different scenarios in life changes and life things that goes on that a lot of times you may not even know that you're under stress. So, you have any other pointers on that, Ms. Sabrina?
Yeah, because you just mentioned traffic. I know some of our listeners just the fact that we mentioned traffic, they pressured this one.
Okay. I have to deal with that every day. I can imagine what they're saying.
I'm telling you, it would take me anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on traffic. If there was no accident on 20, it would take me about 50 minutes. If there's an accident, I am going to be on the road for anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours, depending on where it is, because now you have to get off, take back roads. Everybody's trying to, especially working downtown, you're heading down in that area. Everybody's heading in that direction.
Right.
So I would literally, I would have to, on my way to work, I'm listening to jazz, or I listen to my word, or, I'm listening to one of my books. Sometimes I would be talking to you. But, just trying to de-stress or not be stressed by the time I get to work.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than getting in your car and you're stressed out, and then everybody is rushing themselves trying to get to work, and that's stress enough.
Right.
And then next thing you know, you almost get in an accident, or there is an accident that causes you to be an hour late from work, for work. And let's not talk about if you have a meeting or if you're supposed to be meeting clients or whatever the case may be. So by the time you get where you're going, you're so stressed out, it's almost like you're having an anxiety attack.
Right.
And you got to get yourself to a point that you can go and sit. Let's not talk about getting to work and getting to work. You don't get to go to work and just have a moment to have a cup of coffee or have a cup of tea or just to sit there and just take a breather. You get to work and you get to work.
Right.
So, that was my everyday. The commute alone was stressful.
Wow.
Because of the traffic. But then now we're dealing with another kind of stress. You're dealing with the stress of work, of trying to get to work, or dealing with the stress of, okay, when I go to work today, is this going to be the day? Am I going to be safe? During this pandemic, what's going to happen? Then you get to work, and then you got to deal. Everybody else is in panic, anxiety mode. Right? That's what a lot of people deal with. You're in this panic anxiety mode.
Right. And hey, and you trying to keep yourself, without going there and being there. And if you're a person that, have always been working on yourself, especially I know, you're working with children before to help to de-escalate. It could be nothing that you have to say other than just going about your merry way, and everybody, it'll zap them out of their zone of like, why is she act like she ain't stressed? Because I'm not going to be stressed, okay?
Exactly.
Of course, sometimes some things, it'll raise the bar on you, but for the most part, I find just trying to, stay in tune with self and knowing that why should I overreact about something I don't have control of? Or why should I, let me try and do the assessment to see what's what versus getting, now sea full of water coming over me. Of course I'm going to be stressed.
Exactly.
But other things, like you was saying, example of in the workplace, you'd be like, okay, what's going to be the, resolution or the solution, instead of staying stuck, on that. But I just wanted to share, again, you are staying tuned in with Speak Out Your Issues with me, Show You Right, Nadine and Sabrina. And our topic tonight is stress. And we just want to ask you out there, what's your stress level from 0 to 10? Ask yourself that. And also ask yourself in reference to having self-control or controlling yourself, and knowing how far you going to let somebody stress you out. That's another avenue, Miss Sabrina.
Yeah, that was my next clue, I was like, what about those people that, and again, I'm using Sabrina. I can't talk or speak for anybody else. But I remember a time when a job I had when I lived in Florida. This was back in, it's like years and years. I would cry every morning when I got up and I got in the shower. I would cry because I knew when I got to work what I was going to have to face.
Right.
And it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't where I could, I wasn't in a position to leave that job because I had a young baby. And I needed that, I needed job for the health benefits because it wasn't paying enough. Right. But it did offer the health benefits that I needed because my baby was sick. Right. And so I would go to work every day in tears. I mean, literally, when I took a shower in the morning, I was in tears, and I knew I had to go to work and deal with an unhealthy work environment, and just deal with an unhappy person that brought their personal life to work, and they made my life hell, and I cried every single day. So that's stress.
Right.
That right there is stress when it's a situation that you can't control. How many of you are out there that are dealing with a boss on your job and you know right now you can't leave that job? You know that job is your bread and butter to take and feed your family, and you have to deal with, somebody that is unhealthy and unhappy, and you're in that toxic working environment.
Right. And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because, we all have had those managers, that want to try and see how they can get to you, and I've been there and I, of course, like you, take it to God and He helped find ways to, do your job and help you to make a decision on what you have to do. But I've had that kind of scenario. I'd be like, you know what? Focus on what I have to do and always read the fine print, because a lot of times people, like you say, not happy with themselves and taking it out on others, and they just want to see just how they can get to you. And of course, I know you didn't let them see you cry, but
oh
yeah, but that's just
you got to hold up that that front.
That
even if sometimes you just had to go to the bathroom, take your break, and go outside, there were times I used to go to my car. I would take my car, pull it out of the parking space, go and park farther back, in the lot.
Right.
And I would just scream. I would turn my music up, and I would just scream.
And that was a form of relieving that stress that she was trying to put on you and come back. But, hey, like I say, I've been there, done that, and people think that, you're the one who come out winning. You're the one who come out winning. But I just wanted to kind of mention again, we're on Speak Out Your Issues, of course, brought to you by WLMR DB Radio. And just a reminder that you can hear us on this station as well as tune in. And there's several stations out there. You can always see that when we come on Sundays, Eastern Standard Time at 6 p.m., we usually have a notice out there on our Facebook page, Speak Out Your Issue, and we do have a website. But it's been pretty interesting so far, talking about stress. And are you hearing some of the things that we're saying? And have you gone through them, or are you going through them? We've just given out the information on stress because we are coming up on the fall time of year. And, of course, usually some people can't handle the fall and the winter. They love the spring and the summer. But, it's 4 seasons, and try and like all of them, because all of them shows beauty, in each season. And like you mentioned before, we've had that where it seemed like all of them was meshing into one another. But yes, back to our topic, stress. Just give me a few things that I've looked up and found. And this was in reference to, say, helping to prevent type 2 diabetes. Remember, one of the definitions was indicating, possibly lead to diabetes, all that stress, because it's putting mental health and physical health and emotional health and everything. It just throw your whole body out of sync. But They was just relating to when you feel stressed, you may feel angry, annoyed, anxious, confused, impatient. That impatient is definitely, it shows up a lot of times, sad or worried. And they say you also may have an aching headache, back or neck, racing heartbeat, tight muscles, or upset stomach. So, I know that sometimes when I'm stressed out, it don't necessarily have to be the stress that, you just tearing yourself down. It could be where you trying to get to a location, or like you're saying, working, trying to manage a family. If you're by yourself, juggling all of that, working, taking care of 2 or 3 children, and doing everything yourself, that definitely can be stressful. But you have to learn how to manage, with relieving stress as much as possible versus letting it get to you in being in the driving seat. So yeah, and it says when you also feel stressed, you may drink too much alcohol, forget things, put off doing things you need to do. That's all sound like going into, if you're stressed, you're probably going into depression when you're talking about putting things off that you need to do. And also it says rush around without getting much done, sleep too little, too much, or both. And it sounds like it could be, diving in that avenue of depression. And it says you smoke, take too much medicine, or work too much. So, and a lot of times, again, just gauging and seeing, yourself, paying attention to self and knowing, okay, I need to scale back, take some deep breaths, walk around the outside of the house, apartment, and definitely staying safe. But it also, a few more pointers, it says you may make unhealthy choices about eating or drinking. You slack off fitness goals, spend too much time watching TV or videos or using the computer. These are just some of the things to pay attention to yourself in reference to, underlining to me, whereas because you're used to doing, and not realizing these are signs of stress. So, you have any comments before we take a station break, Miss Sabrina?
Yes, but Miss Honey, I can wait until after station break because this one, as we're talking, I would love to dive more into some of the signs of stress and what stress looks like.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah, let's take a station break. When we return, I definitely want to, because there are other signs too that they don't mention.
Right.
And you don't realize it until it's pointed out to you, and you're like, wait a minute, what? That's stress? Yeah, right. Or, depression.
Right. They going, going over on, like they always saying, another street.
Yes.
Or like we always say, in another lane. But with that, everyone, we'll take a station break and we'll be right back.
Do you want top-notch entertainment or Broadway plays for your event or establishment? Then see you need to hook up with Newham Carter Broadway Plays Promoters, LLC. Give them a call today at 470-776-0863. Your clients will be running back to your establishment when they see your next event is produced by Newham Carter Broadway Plays Promoters, LLC.
Again, thank you all for staying tuned each and every week to Speak Out Your Issues with Ms. Sherry Wright, Nadine, and Sabrina. And hopefully the show was interesting enough to you before we took a station break. Again, our topic tonight is stress. Just the word stress. And of course, we was asking the question, what is stress? And how do you know when you are stressed? And I, talked about a few signs of, what could be going on when you're possibly stressed. But Miss Sabrina mentioned she wanted to kind of share some information after listening to when you feel stressed, some of the things. Fire right away.
I was just thinking about, one of the signs that you can feel, that you realize when you are stressed, or let's put it this way, when you are going into the depressed part of stress. Mm-hmm. One of the symptoms is if you are a clean person, so your home or your living environment is indicative to what's in your mind, how your mindset is.
Right.
So if your living environment is chaotic, that's what's going on in your mind. So if you know that you're a person that normally you would keep a clean room, now you look around and clutter is everywhere, the more you look at that clutter, the more depressed you get, the more stressed out you get, to the point that you don't even want to be in there. Now you go into another room, and that follows you into every part of your living. And then you go to your car, and your car is the same way. And it's just indicative of what is going on inside your body. What is going on inside of you, that you are now where you just, look, your hair, you used to comb your hair, keep your hair cut. Now you don't even feel like pulling the comb through your hair, let alone doing your hair.
Okay.
Your clothes, before you wouldn't step out of the house unless you had razor sharp creases in your pants and, in your shirts, and everything is looking right. And now you just throw on a wrinkled shirt. You don't care if they have a stain in it. Oh, well, take some water, wipe on that stain, and keep it moving. So these are signs to let your body is now telling you, yo, something is going on. And if you don't listen to those signs that your body is giving you, because we all get those warning signs before the big uh-oh.
Right?
So these are signs that your body is telling you, hey, woohoo, it's time for you to do a maintenance check, because if you don't, you're going to have some issues, you're going to have some problems.
Oh, yeah.
You start breaking out in hives, eczema.
Right.
These are all, in eczema, they say it's like asthma in the skin, right? So your skin is breaking out and it's dry, and that's a sign of letting you know you're stressed, right? So I was sitting up here and I'm looking at the word stress, right? And in that word stress, I see the word trees. It's stress, but I see tree.
Right.
T-R-E. And for me, I'm like, what does a tree have? It has a root, it has the stump, which is your body. It has the roots, which is what keeps you grounded, right? And then you have all of these branches. And then you have all of these leaves. And your branches are all the different parts of you that you have going in all these different directions. And then you have the leaves that are on the tree. Those are indicative of the different, it could be the people that come and go in your life. It could be the relationships. It could be your jobs. It could be all of these different things that are on your tree.
Right.
And what happens when a tree is doing its natural thing during the seasons, and if in the summer it's blossomed, in the spring it blossoms, in the winter it's bare, there is nothing on the tree, you just see the branches. That's the time that everything, you need to let go of everything, let all that stuff go, bear it out, just get rid of it all. And then when the spring comes back, guess what? All of this stuff, now you're able to put them in a bag, and I'm giving them away. Clothes that I know that I have not worn in years. Guess what I did? Get all them things, gather them up, and guess what I did? I gave them away. Yes. Some of our clothes and some of the stuff we hold on to are memories of, I remember when I was going with so-and-so when I was in this. So I remember, and it takes you down that unhappy memory lane, right? Because a lot of times we hold on to stuff that we don't want to get rid of because we want to remember that time. But it was a stressful time. So let go of those relationships, toxic relationships that you know that are unhealthy, and you're holding on because you think that the more you love, you can save this person, but at the same time, they're ripping you to shreds.
I'm not certain exactly, Miss Sabrina, what happened, but you are going to be back. And she was on a roll, you all, mentioning about just, hey, what goes on when you're holding on to things. So hopefully she will be back with us. I know she will because she's the other host of the show. But I'll just continue to go on and to see what's next. And our next area is definitely, our next area is what are some of the things to help to relieve stress. Again, Ms. Sabrina was talking in reference to letting go, like she say, things that you're not using, letting go of things that remind you of unhealthy relationships and everything. So, with that, we know that it's not good to just hold on to things that is not healthy. But Miss Sabrina, you was on a roll. You had the phone that got hot.
Miss, look, somebody needs to hear this, and somebody don't want them to know. But I was just saying, we gotta be able. Let's be like these trees.
Yes.
Hang on to, nourish and take care of the trunk, which is the body. Stay grounded, which makes sure your roots are grounded in the ground where your life force is, because roots always grow down for the life force, which is the water that sustains.
Right.
But when it comes, even sometimes your branches may break off. It happens. Sometimes your tree has to be pruned. That means you got to cut away some stuff in our lives.
Right.
That is stress.
Right.
And we got to learn how to let go. To anyone out there that is listening, I want to share this with you. Please, if you are with someone that don't want to be with you, let go. It's unhealthy for you. It's toxic for you. And it's only hurting you, because the more you try to hang on to them, the more they're going to hurt you, because they don't want to be with you. Do not try and make yourself fit into a mold that was not made for you. So if they're telling you they want out or they want to leave you, let them go. You're doing yourself a disservice, because the person that is right for you and want to be with you can't get with you because your space is occupied.
Right. That's a good way of putting it.
With toxicity, you gotta let this toxic stuff go. I know as humans, we love and we love hard, and we want to love who we want to love. But if the person you're with don't love you or don't love you back, I want you to know that you're worth being loved, because that's what you're created for.
Right.
If you're with someone that don't love you, let them go.
Right.
You're gonna be okay. You will survive.
Good point.
Because you were made and built for tougher stuff.
Okay, now I like that. Those are good suggestions to our listeners. And listeners, hey, I hope you've been taking notes. to some of the things that we've learned in several classes that we've taken in reference to, mental health or your health and your well-being for yourself. And we're just simply sharing them. Again, your own Speak Out Your Issues show on WLMR DB Radio. And I was getting ready to just start into talking about what are some of the things to help relieve stress. I just wanted to kind of mention ways to reduce stress. You can ask for help. Be tidy. You mentioned earlier, Miss Sabrina, hey, you used to be tidy, not you per se. A person can be tidy and then it stopped being tidy and you wonder what happened. All of these things helps with, having things in place, asking for help is helping you to relieve all of that's bottled up in you. Most important, one of the most important, and the ones I like, get enough rest, get enough sleep. And now, today they say definitely at least 8 hours, no less than 6 for an adult. But even if you can't, and I know some people can't stay in the bed that long, if you can rest, because you can tell when you are rested because you get up feeling like you're ready to go versus like, I need to stay back in the bed for 5 more minutes or whatever. And one of my next most important ones that I like is having fun. Just have fun, and not make everything be drudgery, to do and everything. So, make time to do something you enjoy. Go for a walk with a friend, read a book, watch a video, whatever makes you happy, not to be stressed out. Let me see. Every time I go to one, Sabrina, I'm always saying this is my next best one.
I hear you. All of
them rule and reign on the same line. How about that one? This next one is I always say about this. Know yourself.
Know yourself.
Okay. Know what situations make you feel stressed. Plan how to cope with them. And that's what you did when you was giving your example earlier. Hey, you went parked somewhere else and had the radio loud and you was screaming as well. That helped relieve it. And that right there, helps. Make a to-do list. Put the most important things up top. Of course, remind yourself by using notes, calendar, timers, whatever works for you, just as a reminder. Set small, durable goals. Solve problems. When you have a problem, try to solve it promptly. That way, it won't become a source of stress in your life. When you have a problem, get to the resolution versus, get it later, get to it later or whatever. Take care of your body and mind. Those are good things to take a look at. Also, feeling stressed, put down the cookies. Instead, try these healthy ways to cope with stress. And this is count to 20 in your head. This can give your brain a needed break. Count to 20 instead of your brain keep, trying to think about everything else. It says soothe yourself. Get a massage, take a hot bath, have a cup of herbal tea, or put on some calming music. And like you were saying, your Bible. I always do a lot of that, the Bible, calming music, classical music. It tends to help, slow my brain down like it ain't slow enough. But I had to laugh at that one on myself because I've always worked on, being in the here and now, and so that's just been my way for a long time. It says give yourself a pep talk. We do that, Sabrina.
Oh yeah.
Say something calming, Like, there's no rush. I can take my time. Or just pep talk and helping to encourage yourself is what I hear from this. And it says, try some ways to relax. You'll find them in a box, you know. Ways could be, like I mentioned earlier, taking deep breaths, breathing in, breathing out, stretching, crunch your face, muscles hold 5 seconds, now release it, find your face muscles relax, do the same thing with the jaw, every part of your body. And it's, of course, it says stretch, do yoga, other stretching exercises. And you can tell it feels, it relieves stress immediately. Was there anything else you'd like to add, Miss Sabrina?
Yes, ma'am. Laugh.
Oh, yes. That right there.
I find something. I don't care if there was a funny thought that you had. I don't bring it back. Think about the time when you laughed so hard it brought tears to your eyes. Whether it was an event, whether it was a movie, whether it was a comedy, the stand-up comedy. I mean, laugh a lot.
Right.
Laugh a lot. Life is too short. We've learned in these last almost 2 years, life is entirely too short.
True.
To hang on to grudges and to go around and be angry, and be frustrated and stressed out about situations that are beyond our control.
Exactly.
Find something that makes you laugh, whether it's a book, whether it's a movie, friends we all have that one friend that, that is just as silly as the day is done, and they will have you, when you call them, they will have you cracking up.
Right.
So, and find your happy place. Yeah. Find your happy center. And once you finish laughing, you'll realize, you know what was I tripping about again?
Oh, good.
Why was I tripping?
Hey, you won't even remember.
Because you release those happy endorphins, and you're like, what was I tripping about again? We have become so serious.
Right.
I saw I was looking on Instagram, and I saw something that just melted my heart. It was a little girl. She had on her little rain boots, and it was raining, and she was standing. Well, it just finished raining, and it was a puddle of water. And the mom was recording, and she kept looking at her dad, and she's standing in the puddle of water in her rain boots. And she's about 2. Dad is standing next to her, and she looks up at him, and she stomps her foot in the water. And he's standing there looking at her, and she stomps her foot in the water again. So he stomped his foot. Then she jumped, and he jumped. Then she waddled around in the water, and he waddled around. And when he stopped, she turned and looked at him like, why did you stop? And next thing you know, she threw her little hands up, and she was just running around and splashing in the water, and he's running around, and he's splashing in the water, and they're both cracking up. Children will find whatever it is to make them happy, because they're going to find their happy place. It's that innocence in them.
Exactly.
So, find your happy place. Learn how to laugh again. Some of us forgot. We've been so weighted down and so stressed, and with everything that's been going on, we've forgotten how to laugh.
Right.
We're so tied up in Facebook and CNN and NBC, ABC, MSNBC, and all these C's and D's, and all these, the news.
Right.
Because we're so focused on all this stuff that just brings you down and stress you out and depress you.
Right.
Find something that's going to make you laugh, and laugh loud, laugh hard, laugh deep, laugh to tears rolling down your cheeks, and watch your body go, man, I've been waiting for you to do that for a long time. What took you so doggone long?
And if you can, say your favorite quote, because it's time for us to go, and I really appreciate it.
When you know your value, no one can ever diminish your worth.
Amen. And of course, just to have, because like we were saying off the air, we didn't realize how this time went by. But I like to just leave a few more healthy ways to cope with stress, and that is take a breather, talk about your feelings, cut back on caffeine or anything that has caffeine in it, not necessarily just coffee. They didn't say coffee, they just said caffeine. And of course, get moving. That helps to relieve all of that stored up whatever on you. And do something fun, like we mentioned earlier. Think clearly. Things may not be as bad as they seem to be. And I know you mentioned that earlier, Miss Sabrina. Make sure you meditate, imagine, breathe deeply. That's some of what you were just going over. Just want to leave you all with that. Guess what? It is time for us to go. We really appreciate you all. Continue to stay tuned in with Speak Out Your Issues each and every week. Remind you that we are on Sundays, 6 Eastern Standard Time, WLMR DB Radio. You can check us out on TuneIn as well. With that, you have a great evening. Until the next time.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station, WLMR DB Radio.